right. Keith is doing the dance before the show starts as opposed to at the end of the show. Welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle since 2011. We've been doing this first on Blog Talk Radio, now last 3-4 years on YouTube. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd. We've got a packed show for you tonight. Todd Blanche's nomination was confirmed. He is currently the Attorney General of the United States, and he is looking to enact laws that are favorable to President Trump. Keith in the WNBA, he'll talk about how the commissioner says the league task force will discuss trans athlete participation. Iran state media mocked Trump over an airplane switch, and a cartoon shows Trump hiding in a catering truck, according to Iran media. Stephen in NASCAR, and the U.S. pulls the last aircraft carrier in Asia out as they send it to the Middle East to focus on Iran. There is an Associated Press exclusive. ICE plans to give officers gloves that can deliver painful electric shocks. And Julia Curley, a transgender CIA analyst, was fired. That and more, if we can fit it in. First up, Stephen with NASCAR. Stephen, I'm just going to show this quick clip, and then you can talk about whatever you'd like to talk about with NASCAR or about this race at Richmond Raceway.
Richmond Raceway gears up for this year's racing weekend starting tomorrow. They already have an eye towards next year with a return to their original spot on the fall calendar. Track President Lori Warren was joined by Henrico County Administrator John Vitulkas and officials from Richmond and Virginia Tourism to announce that next year's race will be the first in the chase. That's NASCAR's version of the playoffs, and it will kick them off. It will also move back to a September Saturday night, a big request from fans and a bit of return to prominence for Richmond on NASCAR's schedule.
It's already special enough to show up here and hear drivers start your engines and hear those engines fire up and see the lights dancing off of the hoods of the cars. But to do it in September, on September 11th even, this is a huge win for our region. It's a huge win for our Commonwealth and, of course, for our fans as well.
The University Richmond Raceway.
Okay, I don't know why that stopped, Stephen.
Oh, yeah, you can tell that's exciting news. That's great news. It puts us back in the most prestigious part of NASCAR, Richmond, Little Richmond, our Little Richmond. It brings us to that. And, you know, last year they had the first sellout in 17 years at Richmond. And this year they sold it out again. It was a sellout. So it's huge in these parts again, like it used to be. Everybody loves it. Everybody's glad it's back. This year, what they did separately from last year and what they're going to start doing, they've done it at road courses too. The horsepower last year and the few years before, but they took it down to 670. This year, they raised the road courses and short tracks under 1.5 miles to 750 horsepower, which helps with passing and makes it good racing. So it was a good race. As far as racing goes, I've talked about that before. There's good racing when you've got, you know, people fighting so hard back and forth racing and multiple people and four wide and stuff like that. It makes it exciting to watch. Then you have races that are just over the top, crazy wrecks, cautions. This was only 4 cautions for this entire race. But it was great.
What's a caution?
A caution is if something happens, if there's a wreck, or if it could be a small wreck, could be a multiple wreck, could be something, but it's enough that they have to go get everybody off of the track and get them back to the pits, and they can take care of whatever problems they need to get when they have a caution. So a caution comes out, the yellow light, you have to go to the pits, get whatever work done, or you can just stay up, but you can't race anymore. Yeah. You got to go slow.
That's just
that's all.
common sense. But Stacey
Yeah.
doesn't know anything about sports, so what are you?
Yeah,
gonna
but this is huge for Richmond, and to do it the way they're doing, it's going to be it's monumental. I can't really put it to words. And the funny thing is, this is newer information that's coming out that people have been speculating on. But this is great. This is going to help NASCAR a lot. And you can see why NASCAR is making changes. They made changes. See, there's only 12 races left, and they made changes to everything, the playoffs and the championship. Because they listen to their fans. And to have Richmond sell out, that means other places are probably selling out. And that means that NASCAR is listening to what people want. That's what our government should do. Our government should listen to what the people want and give them what they want. And that's how they can have everybody be happy. That's how you have. Yeah.
Stephen, I'm going to take a nap.
All right. But look, next week is New Hampshire. We're getting close to the playoffs. Next week's New Hampshire. It's another smaller track. It's under 1.5 miles, so they're going to go 750 horsepower. So yeah. Anyway, NASCAR is on Fuego right now, and it's pretty exciting. And I'm glad I never quit it. And that's all. Thank you, David.
I'm glad you report on it.
Todd agrees with you. I think you found agreement.
Wake me, in the words of Vanity. Wake me when you're done. I guess you'll be the only one having fun.
I know it's too much for you to keep up with. I should keep it short and sweet. I understand. A long dissertation will put you to sleep. Everybody's brains work differently, and I don't put you down for it. I don't put you down for it. Don't forget your binky.
All right. Thank you.
I'm national correspondent Kayla Gaskins in Washington. The WNBA is under growing pressure to clarify its rules on transgender athlete participation after a new league task force met this week but stopped short of announcing any policy changes.
The Women's National Basketball Association is still working to define what a woman is. The league heat on its eligibility rules, which appear gray when it comes to transgender athlete participation. WNBA leaders setting up a task force that met earlier this week to address the growing controversy. The meeting concluded with no new policy and a statement released afterwards that read in part, "We strongly denounce the bad faith efforts to use these topics to demean or marginalize others."
The WNBA is digging their heels in. I won't profess to understand why.
In an effort to challenge what they call a loophole in the league's rules, two former NBA players, Royce White and Inez Cantor Freedom, have declared for the WNBA draft.
Are you a woman? Next spring, I'm going to take my talents and join the WNBA.
Sure, the right is maneuvering its way through the terrain and politicizing this issue. It doesn't negate the fact that the WNBA left the door open for it to happen.
The issue brought to the forefront when Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham publicly stood by her argument that women's sports and locker rooms should be reserved for biological females.
When it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that.
Some other WNBA players and coaches have come out in support of transgender athletes, including Seattle Storm center Stephanie Dawson and Minnesota Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve.
To me, it's a human rights issue. Every kid has a right to sports, regardless of gender diverse, transgender. Every kid has the right to access.
Other than the two former NBA players declaring for the WNBA draft, officials have said there are no immediate eligibility matters affecting the league. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Okay, Keith, do you want to talk about transgender players in the WNBA?
It's really amazing.
Of course, he wants to talk about transgenders.
That the WNBA, just for the record, I'm reading here, policies of the WNBA and eligibility. The WNBA's 2026 collective bargaining agreement states only players who are women are eligible to play in the WNBA.
but it doesn't explicitly define what qualifies as a woman. Now, that to me, Stacey, I have to honestly ask you, or look, it seems to me that a woman would be very insulted, her intelligence. I mean, just to hear that statement, that would be very, it's very anti-woman or anti, whatever you want to call it, feminine. Because, why would they not be able to define a woman? Even Ketanji Jackson of the Supreme Court, she couldn't define a woman. I mean, what is going on here?
Can
Stacey?
you define a woman? Can you, Keith, define a
yes.
woman? Go ahead, do it.
Woman
Help
is,
Ketanji Brown Jackson out, because you're much smarter than she
a
is.
woman is
Help her.
a woman is a Homo sapien with a vagina, a female, and a man is with a penis. Simple as that.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I don't understand why people
Thank
can't define that, biologically. It's crazy. I mean, we can define every single animal in the animal kingdom, every creature, every ape, if they, and this is no pun intended, Todd, but apes, they seem to be as close as they are to us, and we can define a female versus a male. We know what a silverback gorilla looks compared to the female gorilla.
Hey,
yet we
Keith.
can't tell a human
Keith.
being. Yes.
Let me ask you a question, Keith. A woman has a vagina, right?
Yes,
A
sir.
woman doesn't have a penis or testicles, right?
That's correct, sir.
So if a man has his penis and testicles removed and has an artificial vagina created, are they not? They're not more of a woman than they were. I mean, a man has to have a penis and testicles. If this person doesn't have a penis or testicles, they have what appears to be a vagina, even though it's man-made. Are they not a woman?
Now, you're contradicting yourself, Keith. You just said, which I was going to do that in a different way, Stephen. You just said a woman has a vagina.
Yeah, she's
and
born.
a man has a penis.
She's
so
born.
Your boyfriend just challenged you and said, what if that male has his penis and testicles removed and has a vagina?
He's born with it. Yes,
but he doesn't have it any longer. Wouldn't that make him a female?
He has to be born. He's born with it.
Oh, I understand how biology works. I understand, but I mean, at the end of the day, he has no penis or testicles.
He also has DNA, chromosomes.
So your
He has
argument,
chromosomes and hormones that prove it. So there you go. I'm not going to argue this with you guys. This
No.
this is too ridiculous. It really is. I mean, all I know is that Stacey ought to be insulted by the idea that you can't define a woman. Tell me,
let me ask you this. There are some male players, some male professional basketball players who have said that if the WNBA allows transgender players to play, they're going to play in the WNBA. What do you think that's going to do to that league in comparison to the NBA?
Yeah, I'm not. Well, I'd be against that too. I'm not. I know what they're trying to do, but I don't agree with that. Sorry.
What are they trying to do?
Well, what he's trying to do is show the hypocrisy of the WNBA, because obviously he is a man. He has a penis, and yet he wants to.
How do you know? How do you know that?
Well, if he didn't have a penis, then you'd be okay with him playing.
No, if he was born with a vagina and he was already yeah.
No, you said he has a penis, so he can't play with them. But what if he didn't have a penis? Then he would be closer to a woman than he would a man. If he had a slit and then instead of a penis, wouldn't he be closer to a woman than he is a man standing in front of you?
No, it would have proven at birth. It would have shown up at birth. Not at this time. No.
Okay, I have two questions, and then we're going to move past this nonsense. What if he was born with a vagina and a penis?
No, sir. I'm sorry. The chromosomes.
I'm asking you, what if there are some people born with both? I know you probably don't know that.
Well,
so
will
what
you
about
let me
them?
answer it? Let me answer it. I can answer it. We're talking about, then you look at the bloodline, you look at the chromosomes and the DNA. Simple as
what
that.
Are you talking about? Wait. DNA. You don't know what you're talking about now.
Chromosomes. I'm not a scientist.
I know you're not, and that was obvious.
I do
That's
know
why I
that
asked you.
Well, are you a scientist?
No, but I've read science. I know more about science than you do, so that's
Well,
why I asked you the question.
Okay, then let me ask you
I
this.
will
What about
answer.
chromosomes, male and female chromosomes.
Do you
There are
know
a certain number of chromosomes we have to have. You know, all of those numbers.
There are X chromosomes and Y chromosomes. You don't know what you're talking about, Keith. So
Well,
let me
no,
just
see, you're trying to dismiss it. No, you're trying to dismiss it. But you see, because we have chromosomes that can tell the difference, that is what we go by. The science.
That science is old.
Oh,
but
that science
you don't
is
know
very
that.
much new.
Okay.
It very much works. That's why they know when at
All
birth.
right. All right.
And they
Now,
can make a decision at birth. They decide at birth. They don't just let them go ahead. They decide at birth.
Okay,
that's between the mother and the doctor. Let them decide instead
decide what.
Okay, I'm going to move on.
Which one they want to do.
I can't even challenge him because he won't shut up. He keeps. Go ahead.
Okay, so Keith, I want to know, you sent me this about this transgender thing in the WNBA, the issue of transgender in the WNBA. What was your objective in sending it to me, and what did you want people to know?
Which one is it? I send you several of them, and I don't know which one.
You can pick one.
Anything about transgender.
My biggest concern
with transgender.
My biggest concern was not so much that. The transgender. My concern was the fact that these envious women are beating up or bullying, some of the best playing women. Like, for example, Sophie, and so that's Sophie and also Caitlin. Grabbing her in a choke or a headlock. Doing this.
What does that have to do with trans people?
That was my biggest issue. That's my biggest issue.
What would that have to do with trans people?
Okay.
You brought that up. I'm not worried about the transgender issue. I'm more concerned about the assaults that are taking place on the court.
So you're okay with transgender men playing in women's sports?
No, I'm not okay with that. No.
Oh.
I agree with
you. Said you weren't concerned about that. You were concerned about women getting
through that. I'm not concerned about it in the sense that I'm not sweating over it. I am more concerned about the assaults that take place against these women without the referees calling it. These are they're not fair.
Are you just as concerned with the men, or is it only white girls that concern you?
What do you mean?
What I mean is, when you see athletes fighting in hockey, you don't start crying then. When you see athletes fighting in basketball, men, you don't cry then. When you see football players fighting, you don't cry then. Why are you crying over this little white girl?
Because these women ain't fighting. They're being blasted. It's not two people standing up and squaring up against each other. It's one person being a thug against somebody. That's what it is. Trying to gouge their eyes out, trying to choke them to death, doing all kinds of crazy stuff to these people, man.
Okay, stop.
The stuff they should go to jail for what they do.
Thank you,
okay.
It's assault and battery.
Okay,
it's not a fight. Like if people in hockey, they fight.
No,
this is not a fight.
Stop pretending. You're making yourself look as stupid as Keith.
No, I'm being logical.
It's a fight. If two people are fighting,
two people aren't fighting. Have you watched women's basketball? When somebody gets thrown to the ground, or people get hit from behind,
thrown to the ground. That's a fight.
It's not a fight. No, it's a one-way ambush upon somebody who doesn't know it's coming to them. And then those people do not get penalized. The people doing it do not get penalized.
You said you like
it. They do obvious fouls and they don't get in trouble for that.
Those were your words. You said it makes the sport exciting when they fight.
Okay, I'm going to move on.
They don't fight. It's thuggery.
Shut up, Stephen. You sound stupid.
No, you watch a game. You don't know what you're talking about.
You're two-faced.
Keith and I watch the WNBA. You don't watch it. We do. You don't know what you're talking about. You're coming from a point of ignorance.
On one hand, it's exciting to see people fight. And on the other hand,
they fight. But it's not exciting to see somebody come up and punch somebody in the back of their head. It's not exciting.
Okay, thank you.
That's what they do in hockey.
No, it ain't.
Deadline to end the war with Iran, agreed to by President Trump and the Iranian regime, has now come and gone. The president pressed today on if the conflict's conclusion is any closer.
They want to make a deal, but they're not going to make the kind of a deal that I feel is necessary. It's very simple. They can't have a nuclear weapon.
The deadline was set as part of the ceasefire the president signed at Versailles in June.
We reached an agreement with Iran that achieves everything we set out to accomplish.
But both sides were soon again trading strikes and accusing each other of violating the deal, keeping gas prices hovering above $4 a gallon and largely halting traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, with just 3 ships tracked passing Sunday. Today, Special Envoy Jared Kushner saying the president is still open to an agreement.
He'll make the right deal when the right deal is ready.
But tensions with key allies are also rising. The president saying in a new interview that if Oman strikes a deal with Iran on the strait that interferes with the U.S. peace process, quote, we'll bomb the S out of them.
I don't think they behave very well, but we'd handle them very easily.
And blasting another key ally, South Korea, over what he said was its unwillingness to help deal with Iran.
They said, wait a minute, we have 39,000 soldiers over there guarding you from Kim Jong-un, your next door neighbor, and you're not going to help us on a very easy military operation in Iran? That's strange.
The president also calling for joint military exercises with South Korea to be scaled back, citing his, quote, very good relationship with Kim. Tom?
Garrett Hake at the White House. We thank you for watching.
All right.
Wow, I didn't know that. If we got 39,000 soldiers over there guarding them against the North Korea, and yet they won't help us with Iran.
Let me show
There's
this
soldiers
one.
all over the
I don't like
world,
that, Stephen.
dum-dum.
Yeah, well, then they ought to be helping us. Dumb.
Why should they help us with Iran?
Excuse me.
Details about President Trump secretly switching planes while leaving the NATO summit last month. CBS News has learned the covert swap happened within a day of U.S. and Turkish intelligence picking up on an Iranian threat. Sources say there was a plot by Tehran to fire a missile at Air Force One. CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro is live in our D.C. bureau with more on this. Aaron, good morning. So what new details are we learning about this threat?
Good morning, Michael. We're not only learning more about how we found out about the threat, how U.S. officials found out, but we're also learning more details about the decision to move the president onto that decoy plane and who made that decision. Now, ahead of the departure, as you mentioned, from Turkey, the National Security Agency, the CIA, and Turkey's MIT intelligence service picked up streams of information about this plot by Iran to fire a surface-to-air missile at Air Force One, according to 2 U.S. officials. There were initially reports of a team in Turkey who was actually tasked with firing that missile, but after more probes, no team was detected. And we've also learned that it was the decision of the National Security Council, the White House Military Office, and the Secret Service to make that decision for President Trump to switch planes.
And Aaron, do we know who the president actually brought with him and who he left behind on the decoy plane?
On that plane with him were his Deputy Chief of Staff, Dan Scavino, the Executive Assistant to the President, Natalie Harp, the Director of Oval Office Operations, Walt Nauta, as well as Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Left behind on Air Force One included Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, Treasury Rubio and Besant, allegedly and reportedly, according to CBS News, knew about this plot to put the president on the decoy plane. The White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, was also on Air Force One alongside other staffers and the traveling press pool, who were instructed in their cabin of the plane to keep their window shades down throughout the flight. We're seeing some reporting from Washington Post, from Fox News, that this would have prevented them from seeing U.S. fighter jets that were accompanying the decoy plane the president was on the way from Turkey to the United Kingdom.
All right, Aaron.
Okay, let's start with Stephen, then Keith, then Cousin Todd on the president's switch of planes and him leaving half of his staff in the other plane.
I don't think it's possible that would ever happen. I think this is like a psyop that Donald Trump is on the outs. He's on the way out. One way or the other, he's on the way out. They're going to do little things like this to make him look horrible. Not little things, huge things. Like this is a huge thing to leave people on a plane that was possibly targeted. So this is a huge thing. But I think they got to They got to separate themselves from Donald Trump because he is not who he used to be for the Republican Party. They got to go in a new direction. They got to figure something out because this makes him look awful. This makes him look like a coward. It makes him look horrible. He's supposed to be the man who would take a bullet for his party. No, he left people on a plane that they thought was going to be a thing. But I don't know if it's just something to get him out of there. They got to have a reason to get him to be less popular amongst people. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take for people to understand he's not the head of the party, and he shouldn't be.
Okay, Keith, your opinion on them switching? Was it a safety issue for the president?
I'm glad they did it because he is. That's the first priority: keep the president safe. So they did their job, and the president listened to them. I don't see any problem with that. I think that was a good thing that they switched planes and that he was safe. The Lord is.
Well, how come the other people couldn't be safe, Keith? Why couldn't the other people be safe?
What about the reporters and the Secretary of State and other cabinet members?
Well, like I
said, they let them to hang, brother.
He is the number one package. He is the one that they must protect. That is first priority. All the other.
Why couldn't they all get out of there and be safe? Why couldn't they have another planes for them?
Thank God they all did make it. So God,
what if they hadn't? What if they'd been blown up and they just saved Trump? You would be singing a different song.
They all take that risk. That's
okay, Cousin Todd.
Comes with the job.
Okay. A couple of things. I don't know what Stephen was talking about they wanted this, so I think they just didn't get that.
It makes Trump look so bad. I think they're looking for ways for people to distance themselves from Trump because he looks horrible right now. Plus all the decisions he's made, everything he's done bad, the Iran war, everything he's done is bad. They need to separate from him.
It looks good to me.
All right. Now, let me just say that that airplane that he bought, that he was given, that was a very dangerous thing he did because that plane was not outfitted like the original plane that he had to get into. So it didn't have all the security measures.
Good point.
Why would you fly that plane anyway?
Good point, Todd.
And mind you, it cost hundreds of millions of dollars to be outfitted. That's American tax dollars. So he had no business even accepting that plane. I don't even think it's legal. But so to do that, he's making dumb decisions and then being caught with his pants down and having to switch planes for fear he's going to be assassinated. So, and to leave Marco Rubio on the decoy plane says a lot. Now,
the decoy plane was safe. That's the original plane, so it's safe.
Now, no, that's not the plane the president was on. He was on the original Air Force One.
Okay.
So, Marco Rubio was not. So, this is the point. Now, you might say, oh, well, the reporters and all, he doesn't like reporters anyway, so be it. But to have his cabinet on that decoy plane that could have been shot down,
well,
that tells you a lot about.
They all know the risk. Everyone knows the risk.
They don't know the risk. They did not know what was happening.
They know the risk.
What does that mean? They know the risk. They didn't know there was a threat.
They know that the president's life is in constant danger. And just like
that's
Stephen,
totally different
like
from
Stephen,
saying.
There's a lot of people that hate him more than Stephen, and that would
okay, but there is a big difference.
Did you say I hate Trump?
There's
no,
a
I
big
didn't say that. I said just like Stephen doesn't like him, the other people that hate him worse would try to kill him.
All right. You've already said that.
I don't think anybody's tried to kill him.
From knowing the risk of being president, than having the threat. There was an actual threat that the FBI and the CIA picked up on, that you would say, uh-oh, they may bomb this plane. All my people get off.
Right. They should have found a way. They should have found a way to
Exactly.
keep everybody safe.
But Keith is so dizzy, he's willing to lick behind Trump no matter what Trump does.
He doesn't care that innocent people would have died. He doesn't care. And that's Keith, that's not cool, man. There's innocent people and they didn't know. They didn't know. That's not cool, dude. They have no way of knowing.
They know the risk, like I said.
Wow.
ICE agents could soon be equipped with gloves that can deliver painful electric shocks, drawing swift criticism from civil rights groups. In a notice released by the Department of Homeland Security, they say these gloves will act as inductive distraction and
I like that.
escalation devices. The price tag for the new gear up to $20 million. This comes just days after the agency announced it would be accelerating its rollout to equip all officers in the field with body cameras. Joining us now, NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley. Julia, what do we know about these gloves and how they work?
Well, they're supposed to conduct a low voltage electronic emission from these gloves. It's it's an acronym for glove, but they are in fact gloves these officers would wear when they go out into the field to make arrests. I talked to a senior DHS official who said that these could be turned on with the touch of a button. But yes, they would use the gloves walking into any encounter. And this official made the argument that this could cut down on lethal force. After all, we saw 2 fatal shootings by ICE officers encountering people in their cars last month, although it could be hard to get their hands on a driver. But they said it could be used any time that someone is resisting arrest, and that they would not use them on high-risk individuals like pregnant women. But yes, otherwise, it's really within the discretion of the agent or officer who's wearing them at the time.
I wonder, I mean, is there guidance on how and when to use them? Will there be training with this? Because de-escalation training is something that a lot of experts have said is really important. Or is it solely up to the discretion of the officer, Julia?
No, there will certainly be training on how to use them, but their argument here is that it's safer than pepper spray because it doesn't do anything to the public. They say it is painful at first, but that the pain goes away after the hand is removed, and that it doesn't leave a mark, but it will certainly grab the attention of the person who is the being affected by these gloves. Where they've been used most frequently is with people inside of the prison system and jails when they're being used to break up a fight, for example. There's no other time, no other evidence we can draw from where federal law enforcement agencies are actually using these, making arrests. But yes, they will be trained. Exactly what that training will entail, I don't know yet. But they're to be used whenever someone is non-compliant. That doesn't necessarily mean that the life of the officer is threatened. It's just when someone refuses to do something like put their hands behind their back. That's according to a senior DHS official I spoke to this morning, Christine.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated.
Cousin Todd, you had brought this to my attention. Let's start with you about this as a possible use of force, but it isn't lethal. It isn't deadly. But it allows ICE agents to be able to do their jobs.
First of all, it hasn't been deadly yet. Nobody's had a heart attack behind this yet. And so for them to come out and spend $20 million on these gloves, when not all of these agents even have body cameras. You know, somebody was just killed and the officer didn't have their body cameras on. And so yet they're going to go ahead and spend this $20 million and rush these gloves out. This is sick beyond belief. Now, already I can tell they're going to be using this on any and everybody. ICE needs to be trained properly. These people get these jobs and they get bonuses. And they're trained within a day. This is unbelievable how they're doing this. And people are going to be hurt by these gloves that they just touch you and you're shocked. And I guess you didn't have a clip of how painful these gloves are, because I saw clips of them training people to use these gloves and they were doing it on each other. And these were big, strong men crumbling to the ground just by a touch. So I think this is a horrible idea. I think ICE has spent way too much money, and yet not having body cameras yet. Let's do one thing at a time. Get everybody equipped with body cameras before we go buying other stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, Stephen, the thing is, how did President Obama become the deporter in chief and not have to go through all this that this ICE department has to go through?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be sad if they abolished ICE. I would push for them abolishing ICE because I don't trust them at all. I don't trust anything they do. I don't think they have integrity. I mean, you know, they're going to use these gloves. At least they're not going to be murdering people. I don't trust what they do.
Oh,
and I
they
think
will. They're still going to murder. Believe
they're
me.
still going to murder. Right. They're still going to murder innocent people. And I don't trust them as a government agency. I don't trust them at all because I know for a fact that they are helpful in this child sex trafficking marketing. That's what it's all about. They separate these children. They take these children and they put them in the market for sex trafficking or whatever else the elites want to use these kids for. And that's what happens. That's what a lot of this is all about, is to separate the children from their parents and have the children go do the bidding for the evil people who are in charge that people cheer for on the left or the right. Oh, we love Clinton, or we love Trump. They're all bad people.
So Keith, that was Stephen's opinion. We don't know if that's fact. If it's a horrible thing, but it's Stephen's opinion, Keith. And what is your opinion about these gloves for the shocking possible Americans?
Having trained as a use of force trainer myself presently, I do train people in use of force. And I would say that would be the best tactic because it's hands-on, it's hand-to-hand. For example, let me give you an example. If you've ever seen videos where ICE are surrounded by people that object to them and don't like them, and some people are throwing objects at them, some people, just like the guy that got shot not too long ago, the lady who got hit by the car. But the point is that there are people around.
The lady who got hit by the car? Who got hit by a car?
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, you mean the woman that got shot?
Renee Good.
Okay.
You got run over. All right. So the point is that, you have people who object to them and who are trying to interfere with their legitimate arrests because they are arresting criminal aliens.
No, they're not.
If it wasn't for
they're
ICE,
not.
Matter of fact, if it wasn't for ICE, we would have, it would be chaos because
How would you know?
The normal police, the local police are not engaged. They're not involved with ICE. With illegal criminals. They don't get involved with them. They basically.
If anybody commits a crime, the police will arrest them.
If you were to use pepper spray like they have been, it affects other people around you, and it's in the atmosphere. So other people could be affected by pepper spray. So they're trying to say that shock treatment, this shock thing, would be better. I agree. Electrocution.
Do you think, Keith, you and I, Keith, should be able to have these gloves? Should we be able to have these gloves to defend ourselves, Keith? Should we have these gloves, Keith? Citizens like you and me. Can we have these gloves?
Yes, I would love to. I'd love to.
But can we? Will they allow us to have these gloves? Will they allow us?
No, there is no law against it because we can have a taser. You can have a taser or a stun gun. No law against it.
Can we use it against ICE?
Yeah, no law against it. No law against body armor. Only the
if we see ICE being dirty, can we use it against ICE?
No. We aren't authorized to do something like that. We are
because if they were beating somebody, could we use it to get them off of the guy who's beating?
We're not authorized.
You can't do that.
I'm just asking questions.
Right.
No, you can't do that. I'm answering.
Okay,
no.
Don't ask questions.
Some animals have more rights than others. Animals.
After everything I'd been through with my service to the former vice president, my briefing for this president in the first term, and my war zones, my 20 years, all of it, be discreet meant we need you. We need your service, but we don't want anyone to know you were here.
As a high-level CIA officer, Julia Curley had the ear of one of the most powerful politicians in America, the Vice President of the United States. He relied on her to let him know what was going on in the world each day. She held prominent intelligence positions during the last 3 administrations: Trump 1, Biden, and Trump 2. She is also a transgender woman. For a long time, Julia had 2 dreams: to be a CIA officer and to be her authentic self. She realized the first in 2007 when she took the oath on the agency seal, and the second in 2013 when she transitioned. She made a promise when she did: never to hide who she was. Yet in 2017, she wrote 2 stories for The Atlantic under a pseudonym. She wrote about her experience. She wrote about what it meant for the intelligence community to accept people like her. The agency used it to help recruit on college campuses. And Julia was using the discretion that came naturally for a CIA officer. Now, after being pushed out of the White House and leaving an agency where she no longer felt supported, Julia is telling the rest of the story as herself. I'm Adam Harris. This is Radio Atlantic. And today, a conversation with Julia Curley. Let's get to questions. Julia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Julia, you served the United States for more than 20 years in intelligence positions. What was it that drew you to public service?
Well, I grew up a barefoot kid in Hawaii, and I always wanted to see what was over the horizon and see the world and all that. And then at some young, impressionable age, I was ambushed by the Hunt for Red October. And the analyst as hero, getting to save the day. And I don't know, it sort of came out of nowhere, and it sort of bubbled up in my life. And my parents definitely instilled in me a desire to serve our country, and intelligence just caught something in me, and I wanted to be a part of it.
When you joined, was it everything you imagined?
Oh, many more late nights and long PowerPoint presentation sessions.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Cousin Todd, you brought this story about Julia Curley, brought it to my attention. Let's talk about this. She served presidents. She served for 20 years, and she was just fired. Todd, you think she was fired because she's transgender? I'm not sure why she was fired. What are your comments? You're on mute. You're on mute. Duh.
I don't know how you could not know why she was fired when she just told you why she was fired. Is anybody home?
What did she say?
So I'll explain it to all the Trump supporters, all the Republicans. Donald Trump, I'll explain in a minute. Donald Trump's vice president, Mike Pence, who's against gays in the military, by the way, and against gay marriage, and against anything gay.
Why are you talking about Mike Pence?
By this, would you shut up? You've got to mute him now.
No, does it actually have to do with Mike Pence or his JD Vance?
No, can you let him finish?
You would
Just let
learn
him
something,
finish.
dum.
Go ahead, Cousin Todd.
I have to go back now because the dum cut me off.
We're almost out of time. You don't
You're
have
going
time
back to 2016.
So, like I said, I have to go back because you can't control this clown.
I'm just asking questions.
Donna, you're asking after I'm done. Now, this is why you can't learn anything. So then it takes 10 years.
Just get on with it. We're getting old. Right. Get on with it.
Then shut your pie hole.
Just get on with it.
Your face.
You're wasting everybody's time.
Do. Shut your mouth.
You can't. You act like a petulant child.
Why don't you have him on mute? I'm astounded. Donald Trump's vice president, Mike Pence, who is against gays in the military and against gay marriage and anything else gay, was briefed by this transvestite every morning.
Transgender.
Don't tell him. He's the expert, Stacy.
That was a kind of a joke. I was getting Stephen and Keith. But anyway, was briefed by this person every morning. And he himself said he was one of the best. Now, this is somebody who doesn't deal with gay people. So when this is what happens with
I'll get to the point.
This is what happened with another vice president, Dick Cheney.
I'm gonna go to sleep.
Dick Cheney was against gays in the military and against gay marriage and anything else gay. That is until his daughter turned up gay. Then he was for gays in the military and he's for gay marriage. And so this is what happens to these two-faced con artists like Steven, who's totally against something until they get an epiphany and all of a sudden they're completely for it. And so I have no respect for those kinds of people.
Me neither.
These people were fired strictly because they were transgender.
Is that what they put in the report? They put that in the report.
This is what Tulsi Gabbard did. She fired over 100 transgender people from the government.
Okay, thank you.
Now,
Keith,
that's called discrimination.
So Keith, I'll share my screen. Julia Curley is a former CIA official and says she was fired after a far-right personality threatened to out her as transgender. She worked under 4 presidents and says
nobody knew?
Vice President Mike Pence treated her with respect despite his personal views on LGBTQ plus issues. She claims Trump officials knew she was trans, but only acted after her identity became public, overshadowing her service. Keith.
Now that's a bit
disingenuous
because
I mean they were kicking out in the military. They were kicking out some of the leaders, the top leaders of who were gay or transgender, not gay so much, but transgenders, out of that situation. So whatever he did, that's his decision. I don't have a problem with it. That's all I can say. I don't even know her or him. I have no idea who this person is really until you brought it up.
Well, I thought you would have an opinion because you sent the story about the WNBA accepting transgender.
No, but I don't know this person. I don't know this.
It doesn't matter whether you know them or not. You don't know anybody in politics, crackpot.
I don't know this person, meaning I don't know of this person. I didn't see any media
report. Matter. It doesn't matter.
I didn't
see
it.
Telling you.
All right, Aguna.
Maybe Aguna knows. I don't know.
Aguna, I don't think, just because Julia Curley is transgender doesn't mean that Julia Curley is top on her job. You know what I mean? You have to perform the duties of your job. We don't know the specifics, but we know what Julia Curley said. And Julia Curley believes she was fired because she was outed as a transgender CIA analyst.
Okay, she was not outed, by the way. They knew she was transgender. She's been there for 20 years. Just let me get that story straight. It was this right-wing crazy girl that Trump is always licking behind. He was going to have her work in his office. But anyway, they knew she was transgender. Matter of fact, her boss told her, you should probably quit now that Trump got elected. This is what her boss told her. You should probably quit 2 months after Trump got elected because they're going to come down hard on you and they're probably going to fire you.
Okay, I was asking Aguna, but I guess you wanted to.
No, I just wanted to get that straight. You keep saying that somebody outed her. There was no outing. There was no outing. This right-wing media person wanted to put a lot of attention on her to make Trump act now, as opposed to waiting until she was found out by public. Like Keith was saying, I never saw her. I don't know her. So that's why this woman wanted a bunch of attention on her. Yeah. But before she got all that attention, she was fired.
Okay, cousin.
Strictly because she was
Aguna won't
transgender.
stop. Aguna, cousin Todd won't stop talking.
You're making
know.
sense, Todd. That makes sense.
Oh,
So,
be quiet, Stephen. You're the one that talked all over me. What's that got to do with anything, Todd?
No, I said
Shut up.
that makes what you said. That just made sense.
I don't care, but before that, you were trying to cut me off.
guys are
And
gonna
I
take
was
what
right.
the
I was right then too. Aguna, please proceed.
So, depending on where this happened, I mean, most jobs are at will, even government jobs. So the bottom line of it is, if she was discriminated against, she should file a lawsuit and proceed through the legal channels. The thing is, like with most jobs, and all of us have probably been in situations where we've had to deal with employers one way or another, but document everything, right? So if she can prove that she was discriminated against, then by all means pursue the legal channels. Now, going back to your point, Todd, about
Not only was she fired, but 100 transgendered people was fired by Tulsi Gabbard.
well, that means, that just says that, this is in the age of Trump or whatever's going on, right? You should go into law, because there's so many lawsuits and things going on right now that it's a lawyer's paradise to, go up against the government now and with these lawsuits. And the government is bringing lawsuits against private entities as well. So this is a good time in America to pursue a law degree or to be at a law firm or be a lawyer. But at the same time, at the end of the day, yeah, if she can prove that she was discriminated against and it wasn't performance related or something like that, which it gets hard. It gets hard because even if you look at like some of the HR rules and things like that, they can fire you just perceived performance if they document certain things. So depending on what was documented about her, what she has documented, what conversations she recorded or whatever, which she can prove, she can pursue the legal cases. And they may settle out of court just to move on from this. You never know. So I'm not a legal expert like that, but if in fact she was discriminated against and it can be proved and adjudicated in law, then by all means she should pursue that. But of course the optics are what they are, though, right?
And it should not matter whatever Julia Curley chooses to be. God loves her. That's first.
Right.
God loves her no matter what he chooses to be. But the question is, was the firing because of her performance or his performance, or was the firing because of what she chooses to be?
No, I think
of course it's what he chooses to be. And this
let me get a chance.
You just said, or his performance or her performance, that is discriminatory right there.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead,
when Trump was going into office, the biggest thing that they had on their side that was transgender. So anytime they get a chance to knock transgenders out of any position, they're going to do it, and that's what it's all about. And I don't think she's going to have any chance to get any restitution, anything out of this, because you're going against. You can't beat City Hall. You can't go against the government, and that's what the government that's in power decided to do. So the person who told her that Todd said a couple months before said, "You better get out. You better get out now. Just get out before something happens, so you can take everything with you." They gave him sage advice because you could see the writing on the wall. And anybody this only of all the firings of people who are transgender only helps for the base of the party that's in power now. And I believe that's what it's all about.
All right.
And they fired her just because she was transgender. They fired her because she was transgender.
But truth be told, the president came out and he said in his speech, DEI is dead. So it's not just a transgender. A lot of minorities and women are put under the microscope now based on just the fact of perception around wokeism or perception around DEI, even though, the merit-based is part of DEI, right? And you look at, even if you look at Hegseth's qualifications as compared to all the other potential secretaries that were out there, you may argue that he is a DEI hire as well because of his diversity and background, right? So it's just one of these things where to the victors go the spoils, right? So they're going to try to justify a lot of these actions around fitness of work and things like that and this whole metrics-based perception around metrics-based or merit-based performance. I mean, who determines that, right? So a lot of that is just based on the new policies and things that are enacted. And I think we were on the show. I think, Keith, we had talked about women in combat and things like that, and how certain standards around that should be questioned or can be questioned. Again, that's part of this new military. They're saying, hey, the fighting force has to meet these male standards. And if you're not to these male standards, then they question whether or not your ability to fulfill the job.
On that point, remember Pete Hegseth was talking about soldiers getting testosterone?
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
I remember that.
Yeah, that is beyond sick.
Why is that sick?
Oh my God. Why do you need testosterone to be in the military?
Because your testosterone may be low, and you need your testosterone to be higher. And the higher your testosterone is when you're in the military, the better you can perform.
No, crazy.
No, it is.
That is the premise behind
You
it.
would go to the doctor.
No, and a lot of things have been done to the environment that have made young people now, they don't have as much testosterone as they had back in the 50s or 60s or 70s.
Oh,
like these younger people don't have as much, and they need a booster shot for testosterone.
They don't.
No, it's a fact.
But you see the hypocrisy in that, though. You see the hypocrisy in that, right?
How?
Because if your testosterone levels drop and you can no longer meet the standard, the male standard, are you putting your thumb on the scale then for
with these enhancements?
But you have to, or we're not going to have enough people to be able to serve.
Oh,
that was never the question, though, Stephen. It was never the question. It was, hey, because if you look at what the Secretary of War said to all the generals, he's like, hey,
stop calling it Secretary of War.
That's what they call it.
Weirdo.
They're saying, he said, hey, if you can no longer meet the standards, respectfully resign. So now they're saying, okay, we're going to give you some testosterone so you can meet the standards.
Right.
Like, there's a hypocrisy there because
they have a lack of people coming on. They don't have enough people signing up.
Why are you getting rid of the women?
The administration has bragged about having the highest level of enlistment.
But it's not true. It's
not true. That's what they're saying. They're saying that enrollment in the military is up. And so what is it? Is it if there's going to be a male standard?
I don't understand.
Ain't nobody signing up for a forever war. Ain't nobody signing up for a war with Iran. Nobody.
A lot of people are signing up for the military for the benefits, but what's happening is they sign up for the benefits, but then some of the things that go along with that, such as these deployments and things, take a toll on them.
Well, thank you. And we can hardly see you, Aguna. You're pretty dark.
Wait, I got the lights. I got lights on and everything.
You don't have no light in the room. That's probably what's going on.
Actually, I do.
It's kind of a cool effect. It's kind of a cool effect.
So let's go back to sports. I want Todd to talk about Serena and Venus Williams played doubles today, and then Aguna and Steven are going to talk about the NFL preseason.
Okay. They did play doubles today, though I did not watch. But not yet today. It was yesterday. They played doubles, which is wonderful because I think they should play doubles in the U.S. Open and see what happens there. I think they'll do well, but she got that injury, and people made a big deal out of it, like Stacy, when there was a little girl who was 20 years old who also got an injury. It happens in sports. So there you are. But just to put a period on the end of this firing people because they're transgender, to fire over 100 people strictly because they're transgender. Now, of course, they're going to make up something. But the writing's on the wall, and I would expect Stacy to know better. I would not expect Keith to know better or Steven, to be very honest with you.
What about Aguna?
Aguna knows better. He didn't say anything ridiculous like, well, I don't know why they were fired. No, he knows exactly why they were fired. He
I said they were fired
Trump-
because they were transgender.
I know. I was making fun of you.
Oh, what the hell?
Well, you shouldn't have told me to wrap it up earlier.
All right, thank you.
I
Nobody
said
was
real men.
Aguna
They
and
want
Steven,
real
NFL
men,
preseason.
and I want real
Aguna.
men.
I know you do. That's why you were in love with Bruce Jenner. Unfortunately, he
real
doesn't
men.
want you.
We
Now,
want real men.
Aguna and Steven,
How many
NFL
push-ups can you
preseason,
do?
please.
Aguna has already said.
Aguna, I want to ask you a question.
How much can you pull up?
Listen to this crazy person. How much can you lift? How much can you pull up?
Yeah.
How much can Bruce Jenner pull up? Your idol.
You know, and Keith, the military is more about how you can play video games than it is about physical strength now because of the technology.
What a tragedy. That's why we got to get it back.
No, not actually. Actually, not. Technology. We have technology for a reason. We have technology
That's
for
right.
a reason.
Let
We
me
don't
see
use
you-
muskets anymore.
And how much can you lift?
We
Do
still
you
need
see my body?
sailboats. Let's bring the sailboats back.
Do you see
We
my
still
body?
need
Keith?
real men.
Let me see your body
We
compared to
still
mine.
need real men. We need
Let
real
me
men.
see. Let me see your body, Keith. Stand up.
Look at this dude. Look at him, Steven.
Hey, see, Todd got it. Todd looking like a Q-tip. He got his T-shirt on and everything. Todd is ready for you. Arm wrestle. We're gonna have an arm wrestling contest.
You know what would have been funny, Guna, but you're not funny at all. But what would have been funny is when you said Ty got his T-shirt on, you should have said, well, no, never mind, because it's you wouldn't have thought of this.
With your little cap on your head and your white shirt, you do look like a Q-tip.
No, I don't. I do. I hope so. Todd, stop. This is not Todd After Dark yet. You're sitting here and you're saying that you wear a T-shirt and panties, Todd.
I'm just saying that would have been
appropriate.
That would have been a funny joke for you to say.
It would not have been funny.
All right.
He's wearing white tights. Looks just like
Go ahead, Aguna. NFL preseason. We're out of time.
Yeah, preseason stinks. Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you see, football is back. That's a good thing. But this preseason is all about guys trying to make the team. You know, we're getting back. I mean, I think the Bills Stadium had some issues with it, so people were mad about that. You know,
Horrible.
I mean, I thought FedEx was bad. That Bills Stadium is a $2.2 billion stadium, and you can't see certain parts. You got the jumbotrons or like tube TVs and stuff. So that was a disaster. But the Eagles played the Ravens. I started to go up to the game. I'm glad I didn't because it was a disaster. Well, it wasn't a disaster. I mean, some people were.
It was preseason.
It was preseason.
The Ravens win every preseason game. They always do.
Right. The Ravens have won the last.
And then they go nowhere during the regular season.
Well, yeah. So the Ravens have one of the longest winning streaks in preseason history. Nobody really knows or cares about it, but that's.
But it doesn't make any sense. Might as well bet on it.
I did see the Commanders. Mariota got dinged up a little bit, but the Commanders had a good game against the Dolphins. But again, it's preseason. You'll see what happens.
We're not worried about Mariota.
Yeah, so hopefully you won't need him this year, right?
Hopefully not.
Quarterback, right?
We'll see.
Yeah, he's backup quarterback. We have Daniels to be on top the whole year. That's what we need. But let me ask you this, Aguna. What did y'all finish last year? What was your record? 11-6.
11-6, yeah.
Did you know the Giants were 4-13, and their strength of schedule is 17, and Philly is 23. Washington 16. We finished 5-12.
Oh my God!
So, do you remember when strength of schedule would benefit the teams that did worse during the previous year? And why do y'all have the most favorable strength of schedule out of our division? I don't understand it.
That's very easy.
Did they just want you to win?
Simple.
No, the answer is very easy. The reason why the Eagles' strength of schedule is so low is because we play y'all.
Nah, no, see, y'all are playing. I'll tell you what, y'all are playing teams. Y'all are going against teams that won 139 games last year, but lost 154. Where everybody else in the division, is going 144 to like 145. We're playing like a 50-50 schedule. Y'all are getting an easier schedule. Y'all are getting an easier schedule, and y'all had a better record.
We play sorry teams because you and the Giants were sorry last year, and because we play you, our strength of schedule is easier. And because you play us and we had a good record, your strength of schedule is harder. It's math. Now, we do play the division winners. So we play Chicago. We have to go and play, I think we play the Panthers. But the Panthers won the NFC South, which is a sorry division. So it comes down to math. And so just because the Eagles have the 23rd easiest doesn't mean they're going to win a bunch of games now. Because, again, if Giants or the Commanders make some gains, that strength of schedule stuff doesn't mean anything.
And one or two injuries, strength of schedule is not going to matter. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all about Vegas. Vegas does that just to kind of get people betting early and stuff. But it really doesn't matter. It's really a year-by-year league nowadays because the free agents.
But don't you believe you're going to win the division, right? Unless something catastrophic happens.
I mean, so here's the thing. Even with the Rams, everybody's crowned them and said, hey, okay, it's going to be the Rams and whoever. It's going to be the Rams, Bills, Super Bowl. Let's talk about that. Rams, Bills.
The next Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl coming up.
I don't think so. Not the Rams. It'll probably be the Red Sox.
Surprise.
What?
Nothing. But
I don't think
it's always somebody different because the Bills were supposed to win it last year. They didn't even get to the Super Bowl. When Seattle, no one was picking Seattle and to going into the season to win the Super Bowl. They're the defending champ.
Or the Patriots. Nobody was picking the Patriots.
Right. They're picking. It was all about the Chiefs going back and the Eagles possibly going back, but then somebody else. Yeah. So that's why when I look at the Cowboys, every year when we underestimate them, they do good. When we overestimate them, they do bad. They're kind of overestimating them a little bit this year, but they've actually made some decent moves from a defense standpoint. Their offense, I think, is going to be pretty decent. Their defense has always been the question mark. So all that being said, the Eagles, because of the A.J. Brown situation, may not be a shoo-in for a repeat. Again, that's a 3 in a row, and that hasn't happened in the NFC in almost 20 years. NFC East, 20 years. So
I always think if you give them a chance, the Red Sox will be in the Super Bowl.
Hey, Stacy, you need to ask let Aguna comment on the WNBA because they're their net worth. No, let's talk about the economic side. No, I'm talking about the economic side, not because their net worth must be higher now because of these two ladies. Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark.
We also talked about before you got on, Aguna, and we'll talk about that in the after show. So let me get off because we're over time. On behalf of Aguna, the voice of reason, Keith, the constitutional conservative,
a man's army,
Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd.
Q-tip.
What's up, Q-tip?
Yeah.
That's gonna be your name for now. You Q-tip.
Let's keep this conversation going on Facebook, Twitch, X, Instagram. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and check us out on TikTok at Sporlitiks.com on TikTok. Thank you for joining us. We have an after show right after this, and we will see you then. Good night.
Yes. Brought to you by Todd, sponsored with the Loom. Because only.
Okay, so Keith has sent me this text on the transgender situation in the WNBA. And I think Keith wanted to talk about
on this
I wasn't so much emphasizing the transgender part.
Yes, you were. You're always emphasizing
hold on. What I wanted to emphasize, because Aguna, and I agree with Aguna on what he's talked about the economic side, and supply and demand, basketball, what it demands and so forth. Now the WNBA has become more more popular, more, I mean, their economic status is higher.
More popular than
more,
what?
more in demand.
Their economic status isn't higher.
More,
and why would you
more
add
popular than
that?
what, curling? More
Why
popular
not?
than curling or
They got more endorsed, but they got more.
They don't make as much as NBA players. Keith.
Of course not.
The
They
women
never will.
No, I'm not comparing them to the men. I'm
What are
saying
you
that the
saying?
women,
Get to
these
the point.
two women, they have shoes. Let's see, they've got shoes on
Who
the market.
cares? What is your point?
I mean, there's some economics improvement.
This
Yeah,
boy wants to make love to Caitlyn Jenner.
That is nowhere near. You don't have as many.
Well, yeah, and I'm not
as
comparing it. I'm not comparing it with me. I'm just saying that Aguna's theory, and I agree with that, is correct about net worth. They have a higher net worth now. I'm talking about these two women, and yet they're being treated as if they are. They're being treated very badly. Unfairly.
I want to know,
what are you talking about? Who's saying they're being treated badly?
This is
Everybody is. Everybody is.
Everybody
It's
is.
not. Yeah, everybody is.
I haven't heard about that.
No,
Because you're into soccer.
Yeah,
we actually, people that pay attention actually know what's going on because people are upset. People are upset that these blatant, obvious things that are happening to these women are not being called, and it doesn't look good. Like when you strangle somebody or poke them in the eye or throw them, pick them up over in the air and body slam them. The stuff that they've been doing. Yes.
Do you watch soccer?
Oh yeah.
I can't watch.
You watch hockey. What about hockey?
But they call it.
Stuff happens in sports.
But they call it Aguna.
Yeah, but they call penalties. But they call penalties. They don't in basketball. They let them get away with this. It's an atrocity.
Hey, Aguna. Didn't these pigs say they love when hockey players fight because it makes the game exciting? Get out my face.
Nobody's getting away with anything. They get ejected. I think
the girls never had a broken bone.
Yeah, a lot of them had not been called on the things they should have been called on, and that's why people are upset.
That's not true. That's perception.
It is true. It's 100%. It's not perception. It's true.
You don't know.
I do know because everybody, 99% of the public agrees. 99% of the people.
In your humble opinion, Stephen, what percentage of the calls go uncalled?
I don't know what the percentage of the calls, but the ones that are blatant, had not been called, and that's why people were upset. These were blatant calls.
Quantify that. How many blatant calls aren't called?
You got to check it out yourself.
You got to see what we've seen.
It's a bunch of BS.
No, it's not. You're coming from ignorance because you haven't seen what we have seen.
No, don't get offended. The bottom line is
no, I'm not offended. What I'm saying is you're coming from a place of ignorance if you haven't seen it.
You can't even quantify it. But
I can. If they're choking somebody and slamming them to the ground, if they're doing things.
They didn't call that. They didn't call that?
No, they didn't call any penalty on that.
Yes, they did. There were two
didn't.
fragrant fouls, and they got ejected. For the one that you're talking about, they got ejected for that one.
All right, well, then it was another one before that they didn't call. There were a bunch that they haven't called.
Okay, and you don't know how many, but there were a bunch.
And that's why you remember that girl pointed because they weren't calling the fouls against them. Remember that girl? What's her name? What's her name, Kate? What's her name?
How many
yeah, that's why she did it because it's been unfair. It's been unfair to Caitlin Clark the way they treated her.
Girls soccer? Have you watched girls soccer and how they?
I wouldn't put myself through that. Soccer is a horrible sport.
It's the same thing. They do the same thing. This happens all the time in women's sports.
Yeah, shut your pie hole, Stephen.
It's just because of who got fouled is why we're talking about it now. It's
That's
this
right.
whole
That's all.
sensationalism.
Right, because they went super ghetto, and like Keith is saying, they hurt themselves. They hurt their sport and they hurt themselves.
The definition of fake news.
And
this is the purely definition of fake news. It's nobody was watching women's basketball.
If you're not watching, and Keith and I are, we have a better opinion than you did.
They've always been fouls.
We have a better opinion than you did because you don't watch it.
I watched her in high school. They do it. They do it in high school. They're doing it.
Okay,
Those
you guys sound. Nobody
I'm
wants to
gonna
hear
send
you all going
I'm
back
gonna
and
send
forth
it
like
to
that.
you, Aguna. I follow
It
you on.
doesn't. It's purely perception because
I
the
follow
far
you
right
on
is
X.
making an issue out of this because of
Hey,
who's
Aguna.
getting fouled.
Because she's
I
white.
follow you on X. On X. I'll send it
Here's
to you.
the thing.
Keith
Anytime you have
is-
the attorney general of Florida, who doesn't even have a WNBA team, say I will press charges if that happened in my. I mean, what is that? That's politicization.
That's
of
nonsense. That's right. But Keith falls for it because Keith wants to make love to Caitlyn
He
Jenner.
didn't even care about basketball before Caitlyn started playing.
No, he didn't care.
He never even talked about the NBA.
Nobody cared about women's basketball before Caitlyn. Nobody cared.
So
She
now
came and made it
so
something
now
worth
they care.
watching.
So you just
It's
proved
the
my
same
point.
thing
You
Elvis
just proved my
Presley
point.
did. Nobody cared about that
proved my
music till he started singing it.
Thank
What?
you. You
Thank
proved my
you.
point. This has always been going
Oh,
on.
yeah,
You're just
you
butthurt
think
about
that?
it because it's Caitlyn happening. It's happening to
Yeah.
her.
And they both
It's
want to
always
lick
happened.
behind Caitlyn Jenner. Well, Caitlyn Jenner doesn't want you.
Nice try, though. Don't sensationalize an issue that's not an issue.
Yeah,
We have enough
nice
stuff
try.
going on.
No, everybody
Don't
in
try somebody
sports,
else.
every
Caitlyn Jenner's not interested.
every
No,
sports
not
person I
everybody.
listen to
Anytime you say
says what's
everybody,
going on with Caitlyn is wrong.
In an argument, Stephen, every time you say everybody, it automatically means you're wrong because not everybody is doing.
Look, you have to name everybody that's on the ESPN. You have to name everybody that's in sports, CBS
No.
Sports. I have to name all the people that agree
they're not
that
all
what's
saying
happened to
Caitlyn
Caitlyn,
Jenner.
They're not all
that's what's
saying
happened
that.
to Caitlyn is
They're
wrong.
not all saying
You're
that.
just
the
being
problem.
you're being antagonistic. You're
No,
being
I
an
am
ass.
You
You
can't
are.
say everybody.
You're just being an
That's
ass.
just illogical.
You're
It's not
arguing
logical.
to argue. That's all it
You
is.
can't say everybody.
You're
'cause
obviously
everybody does say-
arguing to
Caitlyn
argue.
Jenner.
And he's talking about Caitlyn Jenner because he's the what do you call it? The joker, the fool, whatever it is. That's
They
his
don't
role.
need protection. They
The
don't need
Q,
protection.
the
All
Q-tip,
right.
the Q-tip joker.
All right, thank you. Good night. We'll see you next
Stop
week. Good
looking
night.
you
behind
guys.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Right.
Hey, Stacy, before you go, I got a scripture for you. This is great. You guys there?
Thou
Oh,
shalt
okay.
not covet the
All right, here it is.
Everybody bow your head.
Now, now so stop looking behind Caitlyn Jenner.
13, yeah. 1 Corinthians, let's see, 16:13, everybody. Keep your eyes open for spiritual danger. Stand true to the Lord. Act like men. Act like men. Act like men. Be strong.
Stacy
And
does
whatever
not
you
have
do,
to act like no man.
do
Shut
it
your
good time.
pie hole and stop looking behind Caitlyn Jenner. Bye, Felicia.
Act like a man, Todd. Act like a man.
Oh, Jesus.
God bless
You guys are
Todd,
great.
Todd couldn't stand up to the challenge, man.